welcome to Lentil Asylum. I'm Mark, I'm the co-owner and head chef of Tomillo Glasgow, a vegan food business. We do pop-ups and catering and consultancy. And today we're here to cook some vegan ramen, one of our favourite dishes, one of our most popular dishes, and hopefully people at home will be able to do it once they've seen this. So making a vegan ramen isn't hard. If you live in Glasgow, there's plenty of Asian supermarkets where you can get some of the more difficult to trace ingredients. We got ours at Cebu, which is relatively nearby and it's relatively cheap as well. Some of the stuff you'll need are like dried shiitake mushrooms, kombu seaweed, which is also dried, miso paste, good quality soy sauce, tofu, and then just more easily attainable things like carrots, onions, garlic, etc. All that's easy enough to get a hold of. Okay, so step one to making a vegan ramen is to roughly and coarsely chop the vegetables that you're going to use for the base of your stock. Don't worry at this point too much about finely chopping vegetables. They're going to be simmering away for quite a while in water, so you don't need to worry too much about them. So as coarse as that. So roughly chopped onion goes into a hot pan with vegetable oil, and I follow with some roughly chopped carrot as well. I'll just top and tail. Just cut it nice and chunky. Don't worry too much about it being too small. Pop it in with the onion, get it browning away. Next go with a bit of ginger. I use quite a lot of ginger in it. Gives it a nice warmth, a nice body. Into the pan as well. It's wetting down. Next I'll go with some mushrooms again. You want to keep them relatively big, just so they don't shrivel away to nothing. About that should do it. Go next with one of each chilli. We'll garnish with the chilies later as well. I'll just put one of each one in just now. I tend to put them in whole so I can take them out if the thing tastes too hot, if the stock's starting to taste like there's too much heat in it. We'll give this a quick mix over here, so let's move it around a little bit. And you're just looking for it to brown and break down a little before we move on to our next step, which will be to add dried mushrooms and dried seaweed as well. What we can do while that's reducing is start to prep the garnishes that we'll use on top once it's done. So this is the fresh garnishes. Spring onion will be one of the main little garnishes that goes on top, and I'll just put that straight in my pot. I don't want to waste it, it's good flavour. And then I'll just slice these down nice and thin. I'll also garnish it with some chilies as well. These will add nice colour to the top once we're done. Something I forgot to add for this, it's very important, is garlic. I've got pre-peeled garlic here. I use one of this luxury at home. An important flavour, so I'll go quite heavy on the garlic. I'll go with 7 cloves, again just in whole. They're going to be in there for as long as you leave it for, the longer the better. Okay, so the type of stock we're making today is essentially a mushroom dashi, a Japanese type stock. And the most important part of this whole stock is arguably our dried ingredients. This is where a lot of the depth of flavour comes from. I add this to the pan once the vegetables have sweated for 2 to 3 minutes. What I've gone for and what I've opted for, and through a lot of trial and error, is a combination of dried shiitake mushrooms as well as dried kombu seaweed. And the next step is one of the most simple ones. We've just got to add some water. I've just taken this out the hot tap, it's not boiling or anything. I'm just pouring it in and I'm taking it up to well above the level of the stuff that's in the pan already. We want this to be watery, we want this to be a stock because it's going to be cooking for a long time, reducing for a long time. So this has been on for 7 or 8 hours now. You can see wee bits of oil coming to the top. So I'm just going to prepare the topping for our ramen, which we'll fry in a separate pan, our tofu dan ramen to give it its full name. Just going to fry mushrooms, tofu, a little bit of garlic and some soy sauce in a pan, and then I'm going to set that aside and layer it on top of our ramen when I plate it up. For the mushroom and tofu topping in the ramen, you've got a pan, vegetable oil, your chopped mushrooms, your chopped tofu, and straight in. This is nice and hot. Straight in with the mushrooms, followed by the tofu. Keep it moving. A wee bit of garlic as well, and then season with soy sauce, and this should go a nice colour. Soy sauce with caramel, and some of this. And we've got a nice garnish for the top of our ramen. So the next step is to drain your stock, or pass your stock as the proper term would be. You're going to pass it through a chinois or a sieve. You've got a sieve at home, that's fine. I've got the luxury of having a big one here. An important point to note, because some people forget, is that it's the liquid you want to keep and not the solids. You can see the colour of that there. That's quite a dark brown, given that it's just vegetables and seaweeds and whatnot that have been in it, and starting to smell and taste and look pretty decent. Okay, so once you've removed your vegetables from the stock, this is what we have here. Just a cloudy, very basic stock mixture. And this is the most important part that we're about to embark on here of the whole process, which is to season this up. Because this tastes just now, if you imagine, like an unseasoned sort of vegetable soup, but with the seaweed taste there and the sort of mushroom taste there too. But what you're going to do now with all your seasonings is really make those things stand out, give it the depth, give it the texture, give it the colour. So what I always start with is a bit of powdered veg stock. You can buy that in any supermarket. The next thing I'm going to use to flavour it, to add depth and to add colour and to add texture, is miso paste. What I'll go with next is some sesame oil. This makes everything stand out. Next, and perhaps most importantly, as with all Asian cooking, is to go with your soy sauce. And another important ingredient is a different type of soy sauce. This is sauce manis, which is an Indonesian soy sauce. Next, go with a squeeze of a half lime. And then the most important ingredient for my ramen, what I use, is tahini. What this does is mimics the fat that you would otherwise be getting from meat. The final two flavourings that I'm going to add are good old salt and also a bit of paprika. Let's whisk this together. The important thing at this stage is to taste it, because you can always add more. I tend to add slightly less of things just in case I overdo it. The next step is to blanch our noodles. So you get a pot of boiling salty water. The key with the noodles is to not overcook them. So that's what you're looking for here. That's 2, maybe 3 minutes at a push. They've expanded slightly, they've broken apart, but they're not soft. Okay, so once your noodles are heated up and in a bowl, you're looking just to pour your ramen stock over the top. I brought this right back up to the boil, get it nice and hot. I would say about 3 ladles will be enough for this bowl. Let's go for another half. You can see the nice rich colour there, you can see the sesame broken up in it. We're getting there. Next I'm going to add some of our tofu and mushrooms. That'll probably do us. And then I'm going to move on to our fresh garnishes as well. So we'll go spring onions. We'll go with a bit of the fresh chilli as well, and I'll go with a little bit of chilli paste. Second or third last ingredient are a little bit of pak choy, and I'm also going to put in enoki mushrooms. And then one last finishing touch is to add a bit of nori seaweed. I like to put a bit around the back of the bowl, like this. Gives the dish a bit of height. Thanks for watching Lentil Asylum. That's our vegan tofu sesame ramen. Hope you enjoyed, and if you want the recipe, have a look at the link down below, and good luck.